Hey, girlfriend, you know who you are. You have big, big dreams. You want to write a book, stand on a TED Talk stage, be a life coach offering wisdom from your RV in Montana, a cafe in Barcelona, or a beach chair in Tulum. Your other girlfriends and your family, they don't always get your biz savvy. Why do you want to leave your JOB? Because you're a C.A.T.S, aka coach, author, thought leader, and speaker. Meet other change makers like yourself and find out how they make it happen. This is the Big Meow podcast.
Is it recording on now? Hey, everybody. We're here today with Patricia Arboleda. Hey, Patricia, how are you?
Hi, Kristen. How are you doing? Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So I love what you said in your notes to us about how much of a problem being a perfectionist is. Share with me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so being a perfectionist can become a roadblock for our career advancement. Usually when we are perfectionists, we are afraid of failure. And because of that, we avoid or we procrastinate on taking risks. And as you know, in order for us to advance in our careers or start that new adventure or transition from corporate to being an entrepreneur, we need to be able to take risks, and not being afraid of failure is important. So that's how, I mean, we need to be conscious of the fact that perfectionism sometimes can be a stopper.
So what are your strategies for helping all of us women who have a little bit of perfectionism that's getting in our way?
So I have developed a framework that actually helps us understand what are the beliefs that are behind the perfectionism, because normally that's something that comes from limiting beliefs or pervasive beliefs that we have in our subconscious mind since we are little. And those beliefs are the ones that do trigger the perfectionism. The thing also is that perfectionism can have a huge impact on self-worth, because when you're kind of trying to and putting yourself so many high standards, because it's, I mean, almost impossible to always be perfect or to be perfect, then you start feeling that your accomplishments and that you're not enough. And that has a huge impact also on self-esteem and different things. So it's understanding the beliefs behind them and being able to rewire our brain with neuroplasticity, neurolinguistics, and the framework that I have developed to be able to get rid of those beliefs that are stopping us.
So what is one or two strategies that you can share with us that we can use to just silence those perfectionist thoughts?
So the first thing is to understand that failure, or let me say it in a different way, to reframe failure. Failure, if we see failure as something negative, then we're going to be afraid of failure, right? But if we are able to reframe failure and see it as an opportunity to grow and as an opportunity to learn something new and a different way to do something or to get to the result that we're looking for, then there's nothing to be afraid of. And so that's the first thing that I would recommend. And the second thing is be conscious of your beliefs. Try to understand and listen to that inner voice that is like behind the scenes talking to you and telling you, don't do that because what if, and all of the things like that. So start by becoming conscious of your inner voice and becoming aware of it. And you can even start journaling what your inner voice is telling you. So that is a beginning to understand why we are perfectionists.
I think those are all really good strategies. I work with a lot of women who are building out online businesses. And, you know, it's funny because sometimes it takes a while to put our content out there to the world, right? Because we feel like we don't have the perfect headline. We don't have the perfect brand. We don't have the perfect writing. You know, it's like it creates a real bottleneck when we're trying to get our work out in the world. What's something that you've had a challenge with recently, and how did you solve it?
So let me tell you something. I am, and I consider myself to be a perfectionist in recovery. So I've been a perfectionist for many, many years, and I've been working my way out of it. It takes a lot of work and courage. So one of the things that we need to help or develop is also courage. And answering your question, one of the challenges that I've had is when I started my own company, because I transitioned from corporate where I was 25 years with a, I mean, very high paying senior leadership role, okay, to transition to starting my own company. And my perfectionism kicked in, because I mean, I have been a perfectionist throughout my life. So sometimes it does. So being able to understand that I didn't have to have the complete and perfect plan in order for me to start, that it was okay that I had to understand what good was good enough, you know, and to launch just with what I had. And then little by little, I mean, as you start doing things, or I started doing things, I started also discovering new ways, new opportunities, things that I didn't think of at the beginning. So if I had waited for me to have like the perfect plan, I wouldn't have done anything. I would still be in my corporate job waiting for that perfect moment, which will never arrive. So I had to take the risk and start with what I had. And little by little, I got to grow my business.
I think that's such a great strategy, just to kind of start with version 1.0 and just allow yourself to be a beginner again, especially if you're doing something new that you haven't done before, because, you know, a lot of times there is a learning curve and we may have to circle back and swap out one thing for something else. I mean, being able to iterate and change things is a big part of being successful as an entrepreneur.
Definitely. Just to give you an example, when I started, my original intent was to do individual coaching, just that, right? 3 months after I started looking into group coaching, and then I started looking into keynotes, but one thing leads to the other. At the beginning, I didn't have I had never thought about doing group coaching or keynotes, but it's just when you're doing it and you're connecting with people and people ask you for other options, then that you start creating and thinking about new things that you can do. And as we all know, I mean, if we are entrepreneurs, we know that this is kind of like a roller coaster. So we start with one thing, then we go, and then all of a sudden we go back to version 1.0, like you said. And then, yeah, it's a dynamic process. It's not a straight line. It's like a back and forth. And so understanding that is very helpful.
Do you have a life philosophy or a business philosophy that just kind of keeps you going?
Yes. So my motto is don't be perfect, be courageous. That's my motto, and the one that I always try to apply is like, develop the courage to get there. First of all, understand what is your definition of success. What is it that you want to achieve on your terms, not what people or the expectations of others are on you or have put on you, but what do you want? And then be courageous to get there. And so that's it. So
absolutely. I love it. So tell us about your business and where can we find you?
So as I mentioned before, I am an executive and leadership coach. I'm focused on women. That's my passion, to help women accelerate their success, being in corporate or outside, or as an entrepreneur transitioning, to help them achieve the success that they want for themselves, right? So we start with that. And so I have both individual coaching, group coaching. I work with corporations. I do keynotes, workshops, many different things. And you can find me at my website is Arboleda Coaching, Arboleda Coaching, or Instagram is also Arboleda Coaching, or on LinkedIn, which is where we always do the business connections. So Patricia Arboleda, Executive Coach.
Patricia, thank you so much for being on the Big Meow. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for listening to the Big Meow podcast, sponsored by C.A.T.S Network. If you liked what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. You can also join our network filled with positivity and possibility. Visit www.catsnetworking.com to join us and learn more, together with your magical, motivated, and mystical new friends at C.A.T.S Network. Let's transform 1 million lives with your message. Are you feeling isolated, sitting at home in your PJs? Or perhaps you're tired of the comfy sweatpants with holes in them that are hidden just below the camera? I mean, you could puke at the thought of another day of Zoom meetings and reporting to your BOSS. Do you want freedom from your home office desk or the office cubicle? Do you want freedom from your current career? Or are you frustrated that your online biz dreams are going nowhere? It's all too overwhelming. Where do you start? All the tech, the choices, and your message. Yep, I said your message, your brand, your voice. What is it? Do you even know what that means? Do you need a biz coach but don't want to invest the big bucks? Let's face it, being a solopreneur is lonely, but you don't have to do it alone. And here's a solution. Join C.A.T.S Network. C.A.T.S Network is a woman-only membership community exclusively available to you, the life coach or executive coach, the author, the thought leader, or the public speaker. If you identify with this list, or want to work on adding some of these to your skill set, C.A.T.S is the place for you. Check us out at www.catsnetworking.com. That's C.A.T.S networking.com. Because let's face it, cats are better together.